Hello, and welcome to this brief tutorial on how to deploy the Ocelot DSK tool for Heroku. So for those who are not familiar, the DSK tool is a REST application based on the York DSK building block that was released several years ago. And this allows you to deploy this as a REST application using our modern REST application framework and using three-legged OAuth to ensure that the person using the tool is actually authorized to do so. So here is our GitHub repository, Ocelot DSK tool for Heroku, and if you check the comments below this video, you will see there is a short link so that it's easier to remember, so you don't have to remember it from this video. So if we scroll down, we can see the README, and the README gives us pretty much all the information we need to deploy this. Depending on whether or not you already have a developer account and whether or not you already have a Heroku account, this can be as quick as a 5-minute install. It's pretty easy to get up and running. So the first thing that you have to do is be registered for the developer portal. So if we go over to Blackboard API services, we can see here we have browse APIs registered. Now I already have an account. If I did not, I would click this register button and fill it out. It doesn't ask you for a ton of information, but I am logged in. And so here you can see we have our managed applications. So I am going to click the plus sign. And when I do that, I'm going to give this a name, and we'll say the York DSK tool. Our description will be York DSK tool, and for our domain we will use our learn domain, which in this case is going to be devcon.blackboard.com, and we'll go ahead and click register and generate API key. And I will go back and delete the HTTPS from my domain and register and generate API key. So now I have my key, my secret, and my application ID. This is all I really need to do this. Now, you're going to want to save these in case you ever need to use them again. Because this is a public video, I am not going to be saving these because I'm going to delete this as soon as we're done recording. So I'm just going to leave this screen up. So now I have my York DSK tool, my new API key, and so I'm ready to go ahead and register this in my Learn instance. So the only thing I need for that is this application ID. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to go over to my Learn instance where I'm already logged in as an administrator. And so I'll click Admin, and I will go over here to my REST API integrations, and I'm going to create a new integration, and we will say application ID, learn user. Now the secret here is that we're using end user access. This is three-legged OAuth, which is a fancy way to say the user that uses this tool will have to log in as themselves. So I don't have to have any particular learn user here. I don't have to worry about creating entitlements or anything. So I am just going to use my test student account just to show that this is actually true. So the next thing we want to do is leave end user access set to yes, and make sure authorized to act as user is set to the service default is no. If you were to set this to yes, then that would mean that the user didn't have to accept the disclaimer that says this application is working on your behalf, and we definitely want our users to be able to say yes or no when they log in for the first time. So we'll go ahead and click submit, and now our system is all ready to go. It only took a few minutes, as you can see. And so let's go ahead and we'll take a look at Heroku just to show. Here you can have a number of things. Heroku definitely has a free option. One of these, my DevCon leaderboard, I'm actually paying $25 a month for just because it was something that I was using in production. I wanted to make sure it was going well. The only difference between free and paid is that the free service on Heroku actually goes to sleep when nobody uses the application for a few minutes. So if you had something like mission critical that had to be available immediately, then you might want to pay that $25. But I think for this instance, when it's okay that it might take a minute for your application to wake up the first time you access it in a while, I think the free is definitely the way to go. So to do this, basically we just need to go over here to our repository, and we're going to click Deploy to Heroku. So we are now in the Heroku app. You can see we're deploying our own Ocelot DSK tool. You can see here is the branch and the repository that we are adding this for, and we're just going to say DSK tool demo. And the name must start with a lowercase letter, so go DSK tool demo. All right, and it is available. That's good. So the next thing we need to do is paste in our application key, which we still have on our screen here. So we'll get our key, and we'll go back to our deployment, and we'll add our key. And then we need our secret, so we'll go back, we'll grab our secret, and we will paste in our secret. And you'll notice the easy way to tell the difference between the key and the secret. Secret is all one string. The application ID is separated by dashes. One thing just to point out here before we move on, one of the most common mistakes that folks make when they're registering things is confusing the application ID and the application key. The application ID is a reference that is a public reference to your application, whereas the key and secret are the things that you keep inside of your application in order to do the authentication. So application ID is always the one that we're going to put in Learn. The key and secret is always the ones that we're going to put in our application. So the next thing we need to do is add our Learn instance. So we're going to say devcon.blackboard.com. Notice it mentions not to include the protocol. Disable collect static. This is a Heroku thing, and we are not going to change it, otherwise this won't work. And the next thing that we need is our Django secret key. So there's a handy way to do this based on Heroku. And so here is the link for that. You can just copy it and paste it into a new window. And I always like to generate a new key just because I am crazy like that. And we'll go back here. Now the secret to this is we have to remove single quotes. So we're going to paste this in, and then there's the trailing single quote. And if we go back to the beginning, there is a beginning single quote. And now we're going to deploy the app. And so this is pretty much deployed. So basically what is happening in the background is Heroku is looking to see what is in the application. It's realizing that it is Python and Django, and so it is going to automatically build our application. And this can take a few minutes. If you were to ever rebuild the same, what they call dyno, the same server, then it would build this from cache, and it would be a little bit quicker, but it takes a few minutes the first time. Probably, if you take out all of my talking, probably the most time-intensive part of this, and it's still only like 5 minutes. So now we're compressing. In a second it will say it is built, and then it will be deployed, and we will be ready to go. Almost done, and now we see it's run our script, scales our dynos, and the next step is to deploy it to Heroku, and then we will be ready to go. We'll be able to load this in our browser. It will, upon loading it, it will redirect us to Blackboard Learn, where we can log in, and we can accept this on behalf of ourselves. And so let's go ahead and view the app. So you can see the DSK tool is up. Now I am already logged into Learn, and so it did not prompt me. So let's go ahead here, and we are going to go back. That is the wrong one. We're going to go here, and we are going to log ourselves out of Learn, and we're going to do this again. close that. And here is our tool. So let's go ahead and refresh this. And we'll say, who am I? And now it is going to ask us to log in. So we will go in as administrators to make sure we have all the appropriate permissions to modify DSKs and row statuses. And we'll sign in, and now we're getting the screen that asks if we're ready to allow this application to act on our behalf. And we'll click allow, and now we are back in the DSK tool, and it is up and running. You can see my user JSON here, so you can see all of my information. And from here, you can just go through and you can do users. Let's just say username, and we will look at my test student user just to show that the user that I associated my REST application with is in fact a normal user. You can see I am not a system administrator. And so we are ready to go. And so from here on in, you just use these links to the left and you're able to search for and modify the DSKs and the availability. And availability, of course, includes disabled. So that is our demo for today. I hope that helps you get this DSK tool up and running. If you have any questions, of course, you can always reach out to us at developers@blackboard.com. Thank you and have a great day.